Here we are down on the wharf, right next to the motif down here in Rockport Harbor. And today we're going to look at my go-to composition rules, the ones that I follow all the time, because really, they're the ones that are the easiest to follow. And I've been doing it for 40 years, using the same ones over again, and oftentimes I find myself, they're in the same photo. So rule of thirds is the number one, and that one really has the golden ratio. Like the birds are having a great time here. The golden ratio follows, it's actually a rule of thirds on steroids, the golden ratio is. The next thing I'm going to talk about is leading lines. Leading lines for me is a really, really big deal. I'm always concentrating on trying to find some leading lines. And the third one is odd numbers. Now, oftentimes, like I said, I'll find these all in one composition, which is really great. And then there are some times I won't. So the odd number one will be difficult to find. I'll really hamstring myself here because what I'm using is I'm using the XH1 with the 23mm lens on here. Now, if I was trying to make it easy on myself, I'd be using the 16 to 80. The 16 to 80, it's so much easier just to zoom in and out and try and find those compositions. I got to use my feet now. So I'm really making this difficult on myself. Let's see how it turns out. It's interesting, the sparrows have decided that they're going to take up residence in these lobster traps that are stacked up over here. Pretty interesting. Boy, look at all these traps. This is the motif, side of the motif here, that famous red building. This first shot right here, we've got some leading lines that go right up to that boat right there. So I've moved back a little bit. As you can see, these boards are going right out and they're right along the side of the building here. This 23mm lens works pretty well for this. Maybe I can move over like this a little bit more. And I want that boat right in the middle, just like that. You can tell in this leading lines example with these lines drawn here, we're always looking to get the focus positioned towards the boat in the harbor. So you see the lines going down the board and down the traps and also down the side of the motif. It works out quite well because they're pointing right at this lobster boat that's right in the middle between the pilings and the side of the building. So we get a really nice shot here of this buoy, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm trying to show its nice elongated shadow here. Let's see if I can show it to you. Now I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to shoot this as a vertical like this. See if I can back up a little bit more. Get the whole thing in there, the whole shadow in. Yeah, that looks pretty good like that. Get this fitting in the upper third there. You move a little bit this way. 3x2 it'll look pretty good, I think. And here we are with the 23. Here's the odd number example with the shadow coming off of the buoy here. And what I've tried to do is I tried to put the buoy in the top third with the Fibonacci grid showing here, as you can see in this example. You can see that it hits just about where I wanted it to. Okay, so the shot I'm working on here is a rule of thirds or golden ratio type of shot, but it also includes leading line. Goes right out to the motif out here. So we're going to use both of those in one shot here. Here is this shot that shows leading lines and the golden ratio all in one shot. You can see that I've landed the knot on the trap right on the grid, or in the left hand corner here where I wanted it. It's perfect. Okay, for this shot right here, we're working on this right here, trying to get this door in the third, and we're trying to get this rockport sign kind of point into the door. So let's see how that works. I'm gonna have to do some, oops. Probably gonna have to do some cropping over here on the left-hand side and get that pot out of there. Probably gonna have to crop that out of there on the 3x2, but as you can see, we're trying to get this right here in the third. And we got lots of bright sunlight. Now it's going back in again. As you can see what I'm looking at. So that's the shot right there. And what I'm going to do is I have a template for the golden ratio that I'm going to use. I should say it's the 9 grid of the golden ratio, which helps me a little bit more than that crazy spinning thing. But anyway, I'm going to use that, the 9 grid, because the lines are a little bit closer together like this towards the middle in that particular ratio. So that's the way this is going to work. Now I got another shot that I'm working on here that is pretty interesting. This shot here, I wanted to show the rule of thirds, and I also wanted to show some leading lines. And as you can see in this example here, I show the Fibonacci grid of 9 and where the porthole lands just about on top of it, which is kind of cool. And it shows the lines from the shingles and from the rockport sign headed right into the door, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. I got another great shot here that explains this perfectly, or I shouldn't say explains it, but shows it perfectly. Now, the sun's out, so we got some nice shadows. As you can see, I'm trying to get this on the third over here, and that over the third over there. So, and I don't want too much space in between here. So, I got a lot of junk over here, which may have to get cropped out, but you'll see. This looks pretty good, just like this. So that's a pretty neat shot. I like that. I like it a lot. In this shot here, you can see the leading lines pointing into the lobster buoy. And the lobster buoy is positioned exactly in the golden ratio upper right quadrant. It's worked out pretty well. Oh, and by the way, check out my workshop page at capeandphototours.com, because we got a great workshop going on with Bill Fortney. We're doing the main lighthouses up the Maine coast up to about Bath, thereabouts, Pembroke Point. It's going to be great. We got 8 or 9 lighthouses that we're going to visit, and that's in June of 2021. The second week of June, we're going to be doing a workshop up at the Inn at Sunset Hill in Franconia Notch or Sugar Hill area. We're doing a lupine and waterfall workshop. That's a great one. Then we're going to go back up to the coast of Maine. We're going to do the mid-coast of Maine with Jim Scarlotis. We're going to have a great time. It's just basically a tour. We're going to be touring the area and showing you all the great spots. Jim and I have been up there quite a bit, so we know a lot about it. Port Clyde and Owl's Head. And, it's a beautiful area. Rockland, Camden. It's such a gorgeous place. So I think you'll really enjoy that one. Jim and I have both been up there a lot. And then I'm going to come back here in September. Oh, that was in September, by the way. Then near the end of September, we're coming back here to Rockport, and we're going to have a great workshop here in Rockport out of the Rockport Inn and Suites, and we're going to discover Cape Ann. So I'm really excited about that one. That'll be fun. So please take a look at that, and I think you'll like what we got to offer, and hopefully this virus thing will be all over by the time we want to do these workshops and tours, because they're a lot of fun. You meet new people, and you have a great time doing it. So that's it for this week, and I hope you enjoyed our little discussion of composition and the 3 main or go-to composition rules that I've been doing for 40 years, and now it's just second nature to me. The other ones, I don't really pay that much attention to them. So that's it for this week. We had a great discussion of composition and the 3 main rules that are go-to for me, which are rule of thirds, Fibonacci ratio, golden ratio, leading lines, and odd numbers. Those are the ones that I go to all the time. I've been doing it for 40 years. Even with my days as a photojournalist, it just came naturally. That's what I would do. Push people off to the side or whatever it was, get those lines going in, really makes a huge difference. So that's it for this week, and I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.